ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy that you could join me on such a momentous occasion. This is another episode of the marvelous and majestic world of painting. So, let's paint a painting, shall we? Oh. Okay, so we got a 18 by 24 canvas here, and it's covered with liquid white. So, let's get started. I think we're going to make a lovely sky today, so we're going to go into some bright Indian yellow. Okay. Let us travel up yonder to just above center on our lovely canvas. We'll start about right here. And we're just going to blend outward. Some Indian yellow, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. Let us grab a pinch of yellow ochre now. On the same brush. Very good. And now, I want to travel just beyond the Indian yellow with the yellow ochre. Just on the surrounding areas. Just like that. And you want to do these X motions because that will help the paint blend. You want to have all these colors run together so you can't tell where one color starts and the other begins. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Give a little bit of a blend there, like that. Get out the brush strokes. Alrighty, now on the same exact brush that we've been using, we're going to go into some phthalo blue and some alizarin crimson. And right on the brush, we're going to make ourselves a lovely little lavender color. And this is going to go on the very top of the sky, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like it. I hope you're having a grand old time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come in the space-time continuum to add this lavender to the top of our sky. Lightly. Get some of the excess off the brush. I don't want this to be too much. This lavender will be a very strong color. And we're just going to go to the very top here. If you feel like that perhaps you put this on a little bit too dark, you can always go in, add a little bit of titanium white, and it'll lighten it right up. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So now, just going to get this paint nice and blended, like this. And then we will lightly go across the canvas and get out the brush strokes. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the opportunity to do a little bit of finger painting, so we're going to grab a little bit of that titanium white on the old pointer finger. Alright, let's go right into the center where our yellow is its most yellow, and let's just put in a bright, lovely sun, shall we? And just go in a circular motion just like that. Perfect. Okay, get the paint off the old pointer finger, and to soften this up, I'm just going to mop it up with a mop brush. Just lightly. Just like that. Now that we got our sun in place, let's go ahead and go into some alizarin crimson and some cad yellow. It mixes up a nice orange color. We're going to do some lovely clouds now. And I'm going to use the fan brush that has the very soft bristles to it. This makes a good effect for what we're about to do. That's about right. Okay, let's go up here to the canvas. Okay, so we're going to need to start real small, and let's do a couple little clouds right in front of the sun. Just some stringy clouds. There we got one there. We got one, maybe a small one right there. And maybe got another one in front of it up here. Kind of give it a little bit of a swirl, like that. And then we'll just kind of do some ones that are getting a little bit bigger. They're getting a little bit more detail in them with the fluffiness. And I call this the fluffification process. Actually, this is not the fluffification process. I just really wanted to say that word. We're going to get to the fluffification process. First, we got to put in these clouds here. So these will gradually get larger and larger over time. Alright. I think we did clouds just like this in our first episode here on the Marvelous and Majestic World of Painting. Some of my favorite clouds to do, some little faraway, wispy ones. I think they look both marvelous and majestic, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the rest of these out, and we'll return shortly after these messages. Alright, now that we got our clouds in place, let's go ahead and wash this brush. We're going to use it again. We're not quite done with the clouds yet. Ladies and gentlemen, this is odorless paint thinner. Get off all we can. Knock it off, and we can just wipe it on a paper towel. Now that we got that brush nice and clean, let's just go into some lovely titanium white now. There we go. Now, we want to highlight the brightest part of these clouds. These are going to be the highlights. So they're going to go on the bottom sections of all of these lovely clouds. There we go. And kind of continually go in a swirly motion. There we are. Just like that. This will make the clouds pop and stand out, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier I mentioned we were going to do the fluffification process. I don't know what I was thinking. We're not going to be doing the fluffification process, unfortunately. These are more the stringy, wispy style clouds. So these are going to have too much fluff to them. What we're doing here should be about perfect. Just want to keep the brush moving in a swirly fashion. And give these clouds some nice highlights. Just go on every one of them. twirl the brush. And that's all it takes. And we'll be done with the clouds. So now I'm assuming you've completed your sky. Good job, I'm very proud of you. Now let's move on to some of our mountains, shall we? I'm going to go into a very light lavender color. These mountains will be very far away. They will be very mystified in the distance. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and start outlining where we want to have some of these mountains in our desert. So we'll start about right here. So we'll just outline this and then we'll add some more paint and fill it in. Maybe we're just going to go all around here. Mountains go any which way. Another peak here. And a little valley there somewhere far away in the distance. And then maybe there's a mountain that starts growing out of the ground again. Oh. And then it goes down again. And then up again. And then down again. Who knows? Something like that, ladies and gentlemen. However you want to lay these out, it's fine with me. So we'll go ahead and just add some more paint. And we'll smooth this out. So this lavender sort of acts as a shadow. And what I'm doing here is I am just adding a little bit more paint. And I'm just pulling it down. Filling in these areas. And we will add some rocky highlights to these. So we'll just finish this here and we'll do that next. Alright, so I filled in another set of little mountains here, and what we want to do is just blend the bottom of this because we're going to create a misty effect because we want this to look like it's far, far away, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. See how that looks so smooth? There we go. Just going to bring this paint down as far as we can. Mixed with some of that liquid white. And then it will go through the mystification process, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. I think I want to put another little plane of mountains right in front of this one. That'll push that one far back in the distance. Let's go ahead and do that now, ladies and gentlemen. I think this may be like a little sand dune or something. Maybe not quite a mountain, but perhaps we have a little sand dune going on here. Add a little more paint. Outline it for right now. And kind of trail off somewhere down this way. Okay. Yep, that ought to do it. Alright, now let's just go ahead and fill in with our paint. Alright, so we got our color laid out, so let's go ahead and blend this, shall we? Again, letting it mix with some of that liquid white, giving us the perfect little misty effect. And look how awesome this is. You got the furthest plane, the next closest, and then that one. Look how much distance we already have. We don't even have the foreground completely in. That's what you want to go for. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the marvelous and majestic world of painting. Very good. So I'm going to go into some more of that cad yellow and alizarin crimson, mix up some more of that orange for a highlight color on our mountains. Alright, so we don't want these mountains to have all lavender color to them. We want some of that orange, desert-like, rocky effect. So we'll just kind of graze over these mountains with a little bit of that orange. Just a touch. Just enough where you can tell what the true color of these are. There's quite a bit of shadow because the sun is behind our lovely mountains. Let's grab a little bit more of that color we made. Alright, and I'm just going to lightly graze this. And pretty much do the same thing throughout all these mountains we made. And we'll move on to some of our foreground. Maybe you want to go over to some of these areas and just lightly graze the canvas in our misty areas. So at the same time of having shadow, we're revealing the true color of what these are going to look like. Beautiful. So we're going to grab a Wondrous 2-inch brush and go into some Wondrous Burnt Sienna and Wondrous Black. And we're just going to mix the two on the brush. This will give us a beautiful shadowed sand color in our foreground. That's about what I want right there, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, and now we're just going to block all of this in. That is the exact color I was going for. And we're just going to blend this right up to our sand dune mountain thingamajigs. Just like that. Just blend them both together. That gives it a little bit more depth and distance if you kind of go around this little sand dune here. We'll push that even further back now. So let's just fill all this in, and then we'll work on a couple little trees. After you have this loveliness blocked in, just get out the brush strokes. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, for our trees, let's grab a bunch of paint thinner on our 2-inch script liner brush. Alright, we're going to go over to some of this Van Dyke brown right here. We want this paint really thin. I'm just going to turn the brush right through it and bring it to a sharp point. Alright, so I think I want to have a lovely tree about right here. I think this would be a nice little spot for a tree. We'll start about right there. And have your hand, when you're doing a shake, twist, and bend. Just like that. This is going to be a real twisty looking tree. So we got a couple of nice trunks on the tree. Fill in a couple little areas that we missed. And start adding branches now. Just all over. And we want just a bunch of little sticks popping out of them like that. Some more paint on the brush. Something like that. Just hundreds of thousands of these. Maybe not hundreds of thousands, but thousands upon thousands. Just kind of make them go all over like that. Let some go up and around, across like that. Just give some depth and distance to your trees. There we are. I'm just going to add a few more of these and we'll start doing some foliage to this wondrous creation we've obtained on canvas. I decided to just add in one more little tree here. Get closer to us in our foreground. And I'm just going to add a couple more little branches, and then we can start on the foliage. Ladies and gentlemen, another milestone in the space-time continuum has brought itself upon us. We shall now mix up the colors of sap green, Van Dyke brown, ivory black, and Prussian blue together in one big pile of color, ladies and gentlemen. What a mess. I present to you a clean 1.5-inch brush. Now let's go into some of that color, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just load a lot of this mess on this brush here. A lot of paint on the brush. Perfect. Alright. Okay, let's start off by doing some of the bushes in the background first. That's a great color we got there. And just going to grab one more color. And we're going to kind of go in front of this tree we made here. And we go all the way over here. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have some lovely background foliage. And right here we can start putting some foliage on our tree. And we can simply use the corner of this brush to give us some shadow color. Just like that. Make sure you keep plenty of your sticks showing through, so give it some of that realistic look. Gotta have this little guy hanging up way out yonder there. Very nice. Okay, now, I don't think I'm going to put as many on this tree because I kind of like how this shows a lot of depth and distance. You're able to see through the tree, which looks pretty nice. So we'll just add a few little leaves to our tree here. Not much. I don't want to overdo it. I think that just about does it. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright, let's go ahead and grab a fan brush. What do you say we go into that same old slop we did before? Load a bunch of paint on the old fan brush-a-rooney. The Fandangle fan brush. Alright, that's enough. I think today we're going to do a couple little lovely, pokey cactuses. The plural form of the word is cacti, I do believe. So let's just go thither up here, up right here, and we'll go slightly higher. That's the idea. A little more paint. I'm just going to go right down to the old bushes there. And try and get the bottom portion a little bit wider. Just press down a little harder and it'll make the fan brush spread out a little bit wider for you. Okay, go ahead and put some little classic cactus branches on here for you. Something like that. And we'll do one going this way. And we'll straighten those up here. And we got one going out of the top. Widen him a little bit. There we go. Maybe we got another one right up here, and it's going right through our cloud. Press harder. There you go, and we got a big, huge cactus, ladies and gentlemen, right in the foreground. How about that? Well, a little bit more at the top. Not quite that skinny. There we go. Maybe we got another little one that goes like that. And he's got a big, huge stalk to him. Maybe he's got another little one right here. Grab some more paint. And perhaps he has a great big giant branch that goes all the way through that one. There we go. Alright. Let's kind of straighten these up. And we'll do a touch of highlight, not much. This is kind of the color we're wanting to go for. Mostly because this is the shadowed side of our cactus. So to brighten up a couple of edges, we're going to take that same color for our cactus, mix it with a little bit of white, and just kind of brighten up some of the edges. Just going to sort of do the very edge on these. Just kind of pull it around a little bit. When you're doing this, just hold your breath. Because you got to be accurate with it. Just like that. And just straighten them up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I call 5-star majestic cactuses. Okay, so we got the highlights on there. Well, let's do a couple more bushes and then do some highlights on our shrubbery, shall we? Alright, so let's just slop some more of this color in. And we'll apply it very dark so that way we can tell where the background is and where the foreground is. Make it stand out. Reload the brush. It's going to look good if we go out here a little bit. Sort of push this part back. Reload the old brush. And I think that will do it. Let's fill in the bottom here. Okay. And if you want to make it look like there's little dead sticks perhaps growing up through these, you can scratch through the paint, sort of cover up the bottoms. Something like that. Cover it up too much. And just cover it up slightly. See that? Gives it some detail. What you can also do is maybe take some gray color on the liner brush and draw through here too. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to mix up a gray color. I got some paint thinner on the brush. Take some black and white, mix it together. Some more white. There we go. I think we'll add a touch of Van Dyke brown in the mix too. This is sort of like a gray brown color. That's perfect. You can just sort of pop these in wherever. Paint sort of mixing with the green color. And you know what? If you had sticks coming out of the green color, you had that color on there, that'd be okay too. Color looks pretty good there as well. Grab some more of that color there. And we'll go to the background here and just add in a few. Get some more paint thinner on the brush. There we go. kinds of things here. Yeah, it looks nice back there. Just a lot of little details like that. See that? It's that simple. Now let's add some highlights that just bring this to life. We got our dark color on. Now let's make it look like the sun is bouncing off the leaves, shall we? Okay, so we have our recipe for our highlight color. We got our sap green here, some Indian yellow here. We got some yellow ochre over there. We got cad yellow over here. I want to go heavy on the yellows because that's what's going to really bring out the highlights. That's beautiful. Just get a lot of paint on the brush, and we'll go up here. Alright, I think I'll start up here in the trees. That is looking beautiful. Nice and lovely. If your paint's not sticking too well to this, you can always add some liquid white, or you can take some paint thinner and add to it. I've just taken a little bit of liquid white. And make sure you keep plenty of your dark shadow color in here. Don't add as much when you get closer to the bottom of the tree. There we go. I'll go over to this little lovely tree here. And add some lovely little highlights to the tops of this tree. And then don't add as much when you get closer to the bottom. Perfect, you're doing good, even though I can't see what you're painting. Okay, so now let's add some to the tops of these over here. Not so much down here because these are almost in full dark shadow, so I'm not going to really add much down that way. Some more paint. Few there. Down here. Make all this beautifulness just with using A lovely old 1-inch brush. Marvelous, marvelous indeed. Alright, so now we're going to kind of dirty up the ground where we have our burnt sienna and black color. So I'm going to go into some Van Dyke brown, straight Van Dyke brown. Have a little bit on the end of the brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to tap the ground just like this. It'll add some shadow to the ground as well as a dirtier form of ground. And that will give the painting some very lovely, awesome detail. Okay, so we're just going to continue doing this all the way down. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple more details and we will be completed with this painting. We're just going to go into some yellow ochre, into some Van Dyke brown. Okay, here we go. We're just going to make some of these little, you've seen them, those little hay things that spring up out of the ground in deserts. Make that a little darker. That's it. Whatever these things are called. I could easily just pull it up on the internet and look it up, but I don't really feel like it right now. I'm having too much fun painting. I'll look at it later. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Marvelous and Majestic World of Painting. This has been a fun one. Been a fun one indeed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to pop a few more of these in. It's going a little heavier into the Van Dyke brown so I can get that to stand out a little bit more. Light color isn't showing up that good. Okay, so now we'll go into some Van Dyke brown and black. And we'll just do a little bit of a shadow. Just lightly, lightly. Right on the bottoms of these thingamajigs. Weeds, I guess. Sorry everyone, I'm not a botanist. But I probably should know what these are. And I think that just about does it, ladies and gentlemen. This is where all the rattlesnakes live. Okay, I think we're done. Let's just go ahead and sign it. I feel like with this painting I'm going to do something different. I normally sign in white, but I feel like today I'm going to sign in red. So we're going to put a lot of paint thinner on the brush. Spin it. Load the script liner brush. There we go. Believe it or not, every painting I've ever done I've signed in white. But this one will be my first in red. Here goes nothing. How wondrously beautiful. Red is actually one of my favorite colors. I'm surprised I don't sign in red more. Kind of like it. I hope you've enjoyed this painting today. It's been a blast. I love out west scenes. And hopefully, in the near future, I will visit out west again. Plan on going to Yellowstone Park again by next year sometime. And done, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I call this one Desert Adventure in the Wild West. I think that fits. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining me for another edition of the Marvelous and Majestic World of Painting. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.